30 seconds. T-minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Awesome. Good evening, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi, Pink. How are you?
Hi, doing all right. How are you doing?
It's so good to see you and to talk to you tonight. I've been wondering how you were doing. I haven't heard from you in a while or seen you in a while, and I don't know. Are you still doing some? I mean, the last time I saw you were carrying a sign out there in Leon Valley, but I don't know if you've been real active besides that lately. What you been up to?
Yeah, mainly I've been working a lot lately, like a lot. And so I've done a couple of audits and things like that, but for the most part, I've just been kind of busy with work. So I really haven't been spending a lot of time, on my channel and things like that. So that's pretty much been going on.
How does it feel kind of to be away from it for a little while, while you're working and stuff? It's a whole different world. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I'd like to get back into it a little more, but I just unfortunately and unfortunately, I've been just so busy, especially with COVID and things like that. It's been a lot of challenges. I have a teenage daughter who's been out of school and hasn't been able to do much. So I've kind of been dealing with that. And then with working, I've been fortunate to not be really affected by the, stay-at-home orders and stuff like that. So
Oh, that's good. That's good.
Busy.
Yeah. Had any close scares
How
with
have you
the
been?
COVID? I've been doing really good. I've been doing pretty good. I yeah,
No.
not too much. Go ahead. Go ahead. I was asking if you had been
Oh no, I
directly
was just
affected by any of the COVID
gonna
stuff
say,
that's been going around.
yes and no. I've only been affected because with the way work is, we have to get tested if anybody's been in contact, and there's always somebody that knows somebody, and so it's like there's been some sort of indirect contact. So a lot of like our employers, with me and my boyfriend, we have to like get tested, and then you have to be in quarantine for 5 days or whatever until we get the results back. And so that's been kind
I
of
think
a
your mic is kind of breaking
pain
up,
in the
and
butt. We had to do that a couple of times, but other than that, it's been
can you hear me, Amanda?
fine.
Can you hear me? Amanda, can you hear me?
Hello?
Hey, I don't think Sancho, I don't think that she can hear me right now. We might have to drop her down and bring her back up. I think we lost the audio connection.
Hello?
Hey, can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
Kind of. You're kind of breaking up
Yeah, I'm going to make a suggestion that you switch over
a
to the
little bit.
avatar, because the avatar is uses a lot less bandwidth to stream if you use the avatar. So because your mic is sort of breaking
Yeah.
up. Yeah. Can you hear me any better?
Okay. Is that a little better?
Oh, much better, much better.
I can
Sometimes
hear
the
you
sound
fine.
will get, modulated with, with all the bandwidth that you use to stream the video. That's why I always use an avatar. A lot of people say, you don't ever want to show your face, but it's like, sometimes my mic breaks up and stuff. So anyway, but I know what you mean about the whole issue with COVID and everything. Well, getting
Gotcha.
back to the last time that you were in Leon Valley with the sign, do you mind telling everybody about that? Because I thought that was pretty cool little audit that you did there. If you want to call it an audit, I don't know, but you know what I mean.
Yeah. You talking about the time I was in Leon Valley with the sign, right?
Yeah, I think it was like the very last time. Maybe it was an election day or something. I don't really remember. It seems like something was going on at City Hall, but you had a sign, just a sign.
Okay, that was in Almost Park.
Oh, that's right. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
You're right.
Well, I've done a sign a couple of times. Yeah, I did a sign a couple of times. I've done a couple of them in Leon Valley, and then the last one I did was almost parked, and that was on election day. And they didn't mess with me then, which is good. I was on the sidewalk and I held the sign for a while, and there were voters and things like that. But I made sure to stay a good distance away, and then there was no response. But the reason I was compelled to do that is because of what happened to me last time I was in Leon Valley. For those of you who don't know, I was in the city of Leon Valley, and I held up a sign that basically said "fuck the police," and I was arrested for doing that, and they charged me
I do
with
remember.
disorderly conduct. But then they shortly, what's that?
No, I do remember that. And go ahead. You were saying shortly after they had to drop the charge, right?
Yeah, they dropped the charges shortly after, and so it kind of showed me that there's a little bit of a problem with that. A lot of times, I think a lot of these departments and stuff are getting kind of hip to the whole taking pictures in public thing, and so the First Amendment's a lot more than that. You know, um, it's more than just taking pictures in public. It's more than just, free speech covers a lot of different avenues, and holding signs is one of them. And it's a very basic, very fundamental First Amendment right, even more so, I think, than taking pictures. It's right up there. So I wanted to start doing that. And so I've been having like mixed reviews with that, I guess, mixed outcomes.
I have said that it is, holding a sign is one of the maybe purest forms of free speech that you can think of, especially if you're standing on the sidewalk. I mean, you're pretty well protected from most everything in that instance, in your speech. I mean, you
Yes.
can go out there and fire a gun off in the air 3 times with a sign and upset because they arrested you and say they're violating your rights. But you know what I'm saying? I mean,
Yeah.
it's one of the purest forms. And so I guess it's, and you go into a little town, that doesn't see it every day, and it can really freak them out. I don't know. Do you remember the sign that Otto was holding when he was giving out the potatoes? I don't remember what the sign said. Maybe the police suck, or it was something negative towards the police, and they arrested him as well. I think they ended up having to drop that charge
Oh.
also.
Yeah, usually once, it can be sort of a, well, it can be a PR nightmare if they do it with an auditor, but at the same time, if they try to call the state's attorneys, usually they reject those type of cases pretty much almost 100% of the time, as far as I've seen.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen. Well, I think maybe they kind of drug Otto through it for a little while, but I don't know. Small town, and sometimes they'll do
Um,
that. But you know what I mean.
oh, okay.
Anyway,
Yeah.
sometimes when there's not a lot of people watching, it's not a hard, high, kind of like here in Acadia Parish. It's not a big TV market area. It's kind of rural, and sometimes
Yeah.
those police officers just have never seen, any sort of accountability, and any real accountability whatsoever in their
Oh,
entire,
yeah.
history. So they get somebody
Absolutely
out there
not.
with a sign, they round them up, throw them in jail or whatever, and they think, well, yeah, what do you mean this isn't legal? Well, we'll just drag this out
Yep.
as long as we can until everybody forgets about it, and then we'll just drop it quietly.
Yep. Yep. Or they don't think it's a big deal. They're just like, okay, yeah, we don't need this trash out here. And they want to arrest you or
Exactly.
do whatever they can, and they don't think about that. Yeah. No
Yeah,
accountability whatsoever.
they forget about that. I know in New Orleans a couple of years ago, they passed a new ordinance that said that if you were going to panhandle, it was legal to panhandle, but you had to get a permit to panhandle. The permit was free, but you had to get it. You had to have a permit if you were asking for money. And I know the ACLU came in and shut all that down. I think they filed a lawsuit and they pulled back on that ordinance. But, I mean, that's one of the, I see people on the side of the road with the signs, they're on public right of way and they're saying,
Yeah.
please help, whatever. And I think, gosh, if you see the police kind of hassling those people, that's really one of the purest forms of free speech is to have a sign, and hold it with something
Yeah.
on it. So
Yeah,
anyway,
absolutely.
other than work, anything that you're working on specifically? I mean, the sign thing and everything, but you have anything coming up or that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I was actually, there's a couple of different things. I was trying to do, when the time that I actually do have to get out there, I'll do some cop watching and things like that. But one of the things that I kind of want to explore is like I'm sorry, give me just a second here. I'm gonna keep this out here. Thank you. Sorry, my daughter giving me some bug spray. So I'm sitting outside. But one of the things I wanted to do was like sort of change my approach a little bit and make it like a review. You know, how people do like they do food reviews or they do beauty salon reviews, things like that, and have it be kind of a like a city review. And you just go and I'm sorry. Um, do some and have it be like a review, and then at the end of my audit kind of go on, and I did this in one of them, and just sort of go onto their channel and place a review of what I thought and how they did with the audit.
Oh, that's a cool idea.
Yeah,
How's it
one
been
of my
going?
last audits, I did that, and I mean, it didn't get a lot of views and stuff, but I kind of like that idea of doing that because then people they're interested in a particular city, so they check it out. There's a little bit of follow up, and that sort of thing. If they do a good job, I'll give them a good review. You know.
It absolutely could be very effective, especially if it catches on. That is a really neat idea. And sometimes I don't know.
Yeah.
I was going to say sometimes it's those little ideas, those little things that make a big difference. I see NJ is
Yeah.
asking in the comment section if you've heard from Nasty Nathaniel.
No,
Have you
I've
heard from
heard
Nate
from him a
lately?
little bit. He'll hit me up occasionally, and he'll tell me what he's doing. Like when he was taking his little tour on the coast, he'll just ask me how I'm doing sometimes, or we'll hit each other up, or he'll link me a video when he does one, and just stuff. But that's pretty much it. Unfortunately, we don't talk as much as we used to.
I haven't spent as much time, I guess, with him as I used to either. He used to be in Discord a lot. I'm not really sure what he's up to lately. I know he works a lot, so and I think he sleeps during the day and stuff. So I don't. I'm gonna see him here and there as well. But that's
Yeah,
cool. I think he's doing okay.
yeah, it seems like it. I mean, it's hard to tell sometimes, but I guess he moved. He was living in LA, and then he moved to the mid coast or whatever. Um, Saint Maria, I think that's what it's called.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. Well, that's good. That's good.
Yeah,
I just kind of started off in the middle of everything, but normally I guess whenever I interview auditors, but I guess because I know you so well, I ask, what is it that brought you into this genre, and what is it that got you involved in activism? So like if there was an incident or something like that, I don't know,
it was a
what got you?
well, it was a combination of things. It was quite a number of things actually. I used to get in some trouble when I was younger. I've done some stupid things, so I've kind of been involved in the system, and I've sort of got to see things from a unique perspective with how things were run, and how they treated people and stuff like that. So I sort of had that in the back of my mind. But I also had a boyfriend who used to get harassed all the time, and I used to see that happen, how they would search his vehicle and things like that. They in Minneapolis, where I'm from, they used to have this drug task force or a gang task force that were really super like overly aggressive, and they were constantly like harassing people, and it was so bad to the point they eventually got disbanded. And so I got to see that a lot. One time many years ago, I was in an abusive relationship. When I called the police, they were basically like mocking me and making fun of me, and they didn't help the situation. So I had to kind of take care of it on my own, which I did, and left. But that was just it was a combination of things. And then I got to after what happened with Mike Brown in Ferguson, I was really kind of appalled and baffled at the idea that it was sort of his word against the officer's word, and there was no kind of cameras. There was no dash cam, no body cam, nothing, and all those witnesses, and there was no footage of what happened. And so to me, I thought that was just incredible, and I thought that was really unacceptable, because I know how a lot of times cops will fabricate things and lie about things. And also, I used to live in St. Louis, and I have family who lived in Ferguson, so I felt very personally um, I affected by what happened there. So I started digging in more, and then I started learning about my rights a lot more, and watching YouTube videos. And then one thing led to another, and I started discovering all these people in all these channels, these cop watchers. And then with the cop watching, I started learning more about First Amendment auditing and stuff like that. And so it just kind of, I knew that I had to do it. I knew that I just, there was a friend of mine in Minnesota named Andrew Henderson who kind of was a mentor to me, I guess, or took me under his wing when it came to cop
He's an
watching
awesome
stuff.
guy. Andrew's an awesome guy.
Yes, absolutely. He's fantastic. He's such a great guy, and he's done a lot. And one of the things that I learned from him is that, if you're just cop watching, just being there with a camera, them knowing that they're being watched a lot of times affects the outcome of what happens. You don't have to interact yourself. You don't have to, just be a third party witness to whatever's happening, whether it's good or bad, or, just so that everybody involved knows that there's a third party objective, view of what happened. And I learned very early on when I first started cop watching that as soon as you come out there with a camera, a lot of times things change. Like they wrap up the call gets wrapped up. Many times I've come out with camera and then they'll leave the person without a ticket and then when you talk to them afterwards, there's no explanation as to why they left or why they were bothering them in the first place. And after that, I just knew I had to do it all the time. And so then it just sort of snowballed from there. And then I was just always doing it.
Tell me about the very first time you did it. Do you remember?
The very first time I did it, I was with a girlfriend of mine, actually. We were on our way home from work, my friend Heidi, and we saw that there was, it was like two stops, kind of. We saw these cops kind of pull up real quick, and then there was this couple walking down the street, and they went and started, they had them hemmed up, whatever, and we got out the car, came over there, and as soon as we came out of there, they let them go and didn't do anything. And then so we talked to the people afterwards. We're like, what happened? Do you mind talking to us? They're like, man, we're just walking down the street, and then all of a sudden, these cars, they came up and they just wanted to do a stop, and they're basically doing like a jump out thing, and they, and which they were doing all over North Minneapolis. They were doing it all the time, and I know because I've been a victim of that before for no reason at all. And they said, yeah, as soon as you guys came out, they just left for no reason. So like, okay. And then we saw that they had another one had someone pulled over down the block. And so we're like, okay, we're going to go there. And the exact same thing happened. They just left. And now I don't know if it was because we were there, but it just certainly started seeming that way. And so, so I felt really good about it afterwards. Like, I'm always going to do this. And a good majority of the time when we'd come out with the cameras, they would just go. And to me, that was, that's a great thing, especially if they're just messing with someone for no reason. But I've recorded people being arrested. I've recorded all kinds of stuff. And yeah, you don't even have to get involved. You don't have to interact with the cop. You don't have to interact with the people they're dealing with. Just be there with a camera. It's a powerful thing.
Well, speaking of Andrew Henderson, that's sort of the style he uses too, because he's just the camera. He's just the guy holding the camera. He's usually pretty. He doesn't get involved in the situation or anything like that. He's usually just there, and that's one of the things I always admired about Andrew. Besides a lot of his other philosophies, he's a really cool guy. But I noticed that you take pretty much the same approach. I don't know that I've ever seen you become a part of the interaction, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm not trying to bring up anything like that. I'm just saying that you don't necessarily get involved. And personally, I find that it is just easier for me, like you said, just when you walk up on a scene, and I have had the same experiences time and time again, where you walk up on a scene and you're just standing there with the camera, and all of a sudden they leave. And it just somehow, for some reason, you walking up with the camera makes all the difference in the world. So, you see somebody, cops coming up on somebody, and you just pull the camera out, and all of a sudden it's over for them. And that's a pretty powerful feeling.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
But let's see. I actually was in Ferguson. I actually got to participate in some of the protests in Ferguson, so I was involved back at that time too. I'm trying to think of something that I wanted to ask you about Ferguson, but I know, particularly with that Mike Brown incident, there weren't any cameras, and there were witnesses, in that case. I don't talk about this for just a minute, but I don't hear a lot of people talk about this, but there were witnesses in that case. All of the witnesses that could actually be proven to be there on the scene said that he had his hands up. There were other witnesses that said he
Yes.
didn't have his hands up, but they were found later on to not even be there. They weren't even on the scene. So, and all
Yes,
of that
I remember
information went
that.
before the grand jury, and so the grand jury was presented with evidence that people saw him charge this police officer, and turns out, these people weren't even at the scene. So all of the
Yes.
people that were actually at the scene said that he had his hands up. Anyway, but that makes a difference whenever, they needed, there was no camera, and that really made all the difference in the world with regards to that, grand jury. Go ahead. What
Yes.
were you
And
saying?
it's so interesting that it's so interesting that you said that, because I remember that was one of the big things that really bothered me, is because I was so obsessed, and this is what got me into seeing these YouTube videos too, is I started looking at Ferguson stuff. And this is shortly after it happened. I was looking for amateur videos, and I still do that sometimes when I'm looking at videos. I like to just see videos that people, don't get a lot of attention, and they just upload stuff because things happen. But back then, I was looking for Ferguson tags and like what happened, or Mike Brown, and things like that. And I was seeing some like amateur video, not of the aftermath, and you could hear people talking in the background, like, "Oh my God, that's so fucked up," and he had his hands up, and these are raw, actual witness statements that are in the background, and you could hear it. And I was just like, "This is messed up." And then I remember when that happened, where they were saying that the people were saying that he charged at him, but they weren't actually there. I remember all that.
Right. There was actually, it was a lady, I believe, and, she came forward and said that she had seen this guy charge at the police officer. And it turned out, whenever she was investigated, that she wasn't even there, that she was found to be in another area of town altogether. But that, not only was she not there, but she had made these false claims about other crimes in the area to be witness for the police in the past, for grand juries and things like that. So they had a lot of systematic craziness going on in Ferguson that, really, I guess, kind of blew up in their face whenever, that whole thing with Mike Brown happened. And so, I say, whether the cops were right or wrong in, what the cop did, in shooting the kid, it sure did bring a lot of attention to Ferguson, and it made a lot of things change over there, because, there were
Yeah.
a lot of bad things going on over there. So
Yes,
we are making a
absolutely.
difference. We are making a
Yeah.
difference. And what do you think, Pink, about the fact that these two police officers, I'm, I'm thinking of two off the top of my head that were just recently charged for shooting, um, their suspects, or, I guess not a good enough reason to have shot them. One of them was, the guy that was in the Wendy's parking lot. And then it seems like maybe there was one, maybe was he in San Antonio? I don't remember. It seems like there was another one, and the cop shot him, and that cop was also charged. But, just a couple of years ago, to me, and I mean, you tell me what you think. I can't see those police officers, either one of them, having been charged.
Yeah, I've noticed that too. A lot more cops are being charged, and I would guess that it has a lot to do with sort of public scrutiny and the public pressure. So it really begs question: are these like protests and writings and things like that? Is it actually working? I don't know, but it does seem like a lot more people, a lot more cops are being charged in these types of crimes, or these
So
instances.
I think the fact that people, have their own video cameras now, can pull them out, and even video record the aftermath of things, so that you see what's going on. And, it's really changing the minds of Americans, and, the people in communities that never believed any of these things were actually happening. Is the bad guy telling you that the cop stole his drugs, or is the bad guy telling you that he got, they sick the dog on me for no reason, whatever. And people just don't buy that, but now there's video of it. There's video footage of what's actually happening, and people can kind of assess and say, well, maybe they do need a little more training. Maybe, gosh, maybe there's a better way to deal with it than, just beating them over the head. To me, anyway.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think?
Um, Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say, but I mean, I definitely think that video cameras are making a huge impact and changing, policing. It's changing how the things that they can get away with. It's changing. People, they don't want to look bad on YouTube, and that's exactly what happens when they act to ask. So, maybe it's for selfish reasons, but but yeah, things are changing.
It's good though. I mean, it just seemed like, I've been involved in this for like 8 years now. And it just seemed like, the first 5 years, nothing, nothing, nothing. The last few years has really been positive, and has, to me anyway, from seeing it from the beginning, well, from my beginning, which was 8 years ago. I'm sure this has started a long, long time ago, but that in particular. Anyway, so do you mind me asking about your daughter, how she's doing, or is that something you
No,
want to talk
that's
about?
fine.
You mentioned her.
Yeah, no, she's
How is
doing
she?
good. She as good as she can. She's 14, so
I
she's here and she's
cannot
stuck in the
believe
house.
it's getting so old.
I know, right? Yeah, you met her before.
I have. I have. In fact, I have some. I was looking at my Facebook profile the other day, and I have some pictures of you and I and her and Brandon. I don't know if you remember Brandon from Lafayette.
Yep, I do. I do, and I remember those pictures.
That was a fun day.
That was
We had
awesome.
boudin. Remember we went and ate boudin and stuff. But yeah,
Yep.
I'm glad she's doing okay. And I know for a while she was staying with her dad, but she's back with you, staying with you now, or does she kind of move back and forth? I know. I guess
Yeah,
now with them
she's
not being in school, it's a little easier to kind of back and forth.
yeah, it's well she was staying with her dad for a little while. And she's finishing school there, junior high, which she did, and so now we're here in Texas, and she's about to start high school, um and yeah, things are going good, except she was really involved in sports and stuff, and then they just sort of put the axe on that because of COVID. So she's sort of been stuck in the house going stir crazy like with the rest of us.
Oh,
But she's doing
yes, I
good.
know. I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. I have my grandkids here, and they've been out of school for months, and I'm ready for them to go back. And they're talking about online school next year. So I know I got one of the
um
girls a computer so she could do online school if that's what she had to do this year. But yeah, I wish they'd go back.
yeah, yes, yes.
They
I'm sorry,
said to
I'm
start
reading.
spreading.
Oh,
Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. No, you go ahead. I'm sorry. I think there's a little delay, so I know I'm probably trying to talk over you. I don't mean to.
No, that's okay. I see a question. What is the number one advice Pink Camera Magic now would give Pink Camera Magic then before she first recorded? Um, I don't know, to record, I guess, to start earlier. I'm not sure. Um, Let me see. Uh, I don't know. I guess always have a backup. Always let somebody know where you are. Because I used to, when I first started recording, I guess I would just sort of roam the streets when I was bored, or I would do traffic stops on my way home from work or things like that. And then a lot of times I wouldn't let anybody know where I was. But now, the first time I was arrested doing it, or the second time I was arrested doing it, nobody knew where I was, or knew anything that was going on, so nobody could help. So now when I do audits and things like that, I always make sure that I tell somebody, or if I'm recording the cops, I'll let my boyfriend know. I'll be like, hey, I'm here, just recording a traffic stop real quick, whatever. And yeah, it's always good to at least let somebody know where you are.
Why don't you tell us what you can do if you are arrested and nobody knows where you are? How do you deal with that?
If you're arrested, nobody knows where you are. There really isn't anything you could do about it. You just, I guess I would highly recommend remaining silent. Just completely remain silent. Just let it run its course, and then handle everything afterwards, because there's nothing that you can do when you're in that position, whether you're being detained or arrested, other than the absolute best thing you can do is just remain silent. If they're going to charge you, they're going to charge you. Let them do it, and then as soon as you're done, one thing I like to do when I do audits is I like to have like a little bit of cash on me. I put it in my bra or something like that in case if I need to like use a phone or hop on a bus or something. I've been known to do that, and then just yeah, that's why I always suggest that you make sure that you let somebody know where you are.
Right, but the last thing you want to do is panic. The last thing
Yes,
you want to do is
absolutely.
panic. So if you
Yep.
ever get
You don't want to
arrested,
panic. You don't want to
the very
fight. You don't
last
want to
thing,
say, "Well,
yes.
this is wrong," and don't handcuff me. You just let them handcuff you, and remain silent. Let it run its course, and deal with it after the fact.
That's right. Take
You
it
know,
like a
get a
big boy.
lawyer. Yep.
Let them take you off to jail. You know, whatever they're going to do, they can only do it for 72 hours. You know, so
Yeah.
that's that would
Yep.
be my advice too. You know, just kind of let it happen and you know, put on your big boy pants and just go through it. You know, just even if people know, I mean, you're going to have to deal with it. You know, that's one of the things
Yeah.
about auditing. And I don't know if you would agree with this or not, but at the end of the day, you know, when you audit or when you go out and do any kind of activism work, at the end of the day, you are the one that's responsible for your behavior, for whatever charges you get, for whatever trouble you get into. At the end of the day, you're the one that's going to have to deal with it. No matter how much support you have, no matter how many people say, oh, you know, that was a terrible arrest, and no matter how many people give you a pat on the back for taking it, at the end of the day, it's going to be you standing before the judge, you know, you that has to deal with it. So you got to, you know,
Yes.
something that you,
Absolutely.
you know, you have to be
Absolutely.
ready to deal with on your own. Put on your big boy pants and
Yes.
deal with it on your own, so to speak. So
Exactly. You got to always
anyway,
remember who you're dealing with. I mean, obviously, you know, you have a right to do things, and they shouldn't mess with you for if you're obeying the law, and you know, if you're not breaking any laws or anything like that. But you have to understand who you're dealing with and realize that they have the reason you're doing this in the first place is because they have been known to act out of pocket, and you got to be prepared for that. You got to expect to be arrested almost, you know. Even you're lucky if it doesn't happen. I know Laura hasn't been arrested, and she's been close a couple of times. She's been cuffed or whatever, but you got to expect that it could happen,
so
and there's real
what
repercussions
became
for that if you do that.
That's right. There are real repercussions, and you know you're going to have to be ready to be big and strong and fight it, and you know not take the plea, and you've done all of that. I mean, you've been pretty strong and holding out for a lot of things. I know Sue has too. But I was going to ask you with
Yes.
regards to Leon Valley and the sign and the arrest. I guess first off, when you got arrested with the sign in Leon Valley, I think what did it say? Something like "fuck Joe," or I don't remember exactly what it said, but what,
Yeah.
first of all, when they
Yeah. It
arrested
said
you, what
fuck
did they
Joe and
do?
the Leon Valley sign.
They took you in, and were they nice to you, or what exactly happened when they
Yeah.
arrested you?
No. No. Well, they arrested me. They put me in handcuffs. They went and brought me into the back or whatever, and they threw away my sign. They ripped it and they threw away my sign. And yeah, because they gave me an option. Woo! All no, that's okay. Well, they gave me two options. They said either give us your sign and walk away, or we're gonna have to do what we got to do, or whatever. So I just completely remained silent, and then they let them do what they wanted to do. But they were dead set on taking that sign. So they ended up dropped me in the back, and they ripped up my sign, threw it away, and they set me back there for a little while, gave me a ticket, and I was lucky because I was crossing my fingers that they weren't going to take my phone. But even the guy was like, "Well, we don't need to take your phone because don't really have anything to do with your charge or whatever." It's like, okay, because I thought for sure they were going to do that. But I had a ride there. I also had a backup. There was a guy who was in the parking lot at the time, a friend of mine who, and oftentimes when I do this, I'll have a ride or I'll take a lift or something like that. But he was there and he was recording from his truck as well. So that happened, and then just a few days later, they dropped the charges. But they released me
Oh,
after about an hour and a half.
I wondered. I didn't know that I had for sure heard all the story about the arrest. I just wondered, did Joe come in to speak to you at all, or was it
No,
just his
yeah, I didn't see Joe at
officers?
all. It was just the other officers.
Okay, Desert Sentinel wants to know, what do you think about the growing number of felony charges and federal indictments in this genre? And are you aware of the continuing arrests, one just today?
No, I'm not aware of any arrests today. To be totally honest, I don't really keep up with a lot of what's going on in the community or whatever with like arrests and auditing and things like that. I just sort of focus on my own thing and what I'm doing. So I don't really know what's going on with any of that. So I really don't know what to say about it.
Have you,
But yeah,
by
I'm
chance,
working all the time, so I don't.
well, I was going to say, yeah. I mean, you know, I don't work, and so you know, I have a lot of time to kind of follow it. And you see, there's a whole bunch of people in the chat there with me that follow along too. We sort of watch it like soap operas all day long. But you haven't followed along with Eric Brandt. What's
Yeah,
going on with him? I know he had been arrested and then was in jail and he got out. I don't know if you knew that. He finally got bond and was out, but I know yesterday they just revoked his bond.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's who Desert's talking about got arrested today. I'm not sure who got arrested today. I'm
Oh, okay.
really busy, but yeah, I don't know if you had heard about that
Oh,
or.
no, I had no idea. Only person I've been kind of keeping up with recently is, I don't know if y'all are familiar with Travis Hines. He's not an auditor or like a cop watcher necessarily, but he's just somebody who kind of roams, and he gets messed with by the cops a lot. And he was arrested in North Dakota twice last couple of days for literally nothing. And so I've been kind of following what's been going on with him.
He says, well, can I have your name? That's
Yes,
Travis
yes.
Hines.
Oh, well, let's exchange names.
Yes, you can have my name if
information.
I can have your name.
Yep. Yeah, he's
funny.
awesome.
He's a real funny guy. I've
Yes,
always enjoyed watching Travis. Some of the stuff he does is a little kooky, but yeah, I've always enjoyed watching him. He's a funny guy, and he
Yep.
comments on my videos as well. So we've been watching each other for a long time.
Okay, cool.
Let's see if we have any more questions. I know you don't follow the auditors too much, and I think that's probably great. That you do your own thing. You can get mixed up in this high school drama of the back. What do you call it? The back stage auditing community, but really that's not what activism is all about. It's more fun, I think, doing your own thing, which is kind of what I've been doing myself lately too. But so I don't know. You want to? I hate to even ask you about your job or anything, or even ask you where you're living. I don't want to really give all that kind of information away or anything. I know.
No, it's okay. But I don't mind.
I knew that I knew that you'd moved south from like Minnesota from the really cold area. Weren't you living in Chicago at one time as well?
I was. I grew up in Minnesota. I was born and raised there, but then I was there for a while. But I was there with my mom. She was elderly and she was really sick, and I had to take care of her. But she finally passed away a few years ago. And I say finally because she was going through a lot. She was suffering quite a bit, and I was spending a lot of time taking care of her. But once she passed away a few years ago, that's when, and I knew I was going to move, and especially move down south. And I was just kind of waiting for that to happen, because I was taking care of her and stuff like that. And so once that finally happened, we left. And my sister, I have a family in Chicago as well. So at first I moved to Chicago because I had no reason to be in Minnesota anymore. And so I moved to Chicago. I got my apartment and stuff like that down there. And I was basically getting myself ready to move to Texas. But I wanted to save up some money still and work. And plus I was doing a ton of audits in Chicago. I'm so happy because Chicago needed it. That's another story. But anyways, I was just kind of waiting and saving. But then I got on house arrest, and that sort of threw a monkey wrench in my situation. A lot of stuff happened after that. I had lost my job, and there was a lot of real effects to that. My daughter had to move in with her dad for a while, so I had to deal with that. Once I got everything wrapped up with that, I was finally able to move down to Texas, which I always wanted to do. And so now that I'm here, trying to plant some, get a foundation going here. And so I've been working pretty hard. And aside from working my regular job, I'm also learning about solar energy. And so I've been studying that, and I've been training. So I've been going to my full-time job, and then I've been training for doing solar paneling and stuff like that. So I'm going to eventually get into selling that. So that's kind of what I've been doing.
Oh, that's great. Well, I'm glad to hear that. That is great. How do you like the heat down south?
You know what? I've lived in cold my whole life, and like snow and freezing. So it was, it kind of sucked having Christmas without snow, but I will take it because, being in hibernation for 6 months out of the year is not good either.
Right. I wasn't sure how, I knew that, you grew up there in a really cold climate. It's cold in Minnesota. The malls are indoors. Everything's inside. You can't do anything outside in the wintertime, basically,
Yep,
right? Isn't it like
right.
40 below zero or something? Geez. So I wondered how,
that way, yeah.
Because I know it is super hot down south. And I know, in Texas, gosh, I grew up in South Texas, and it was so hot there, in the summer times it didn't rain. It was just, desert hot. So I just wondered how that was.
Yes.
A lot of people that come from up north are like, when it gets cold here, they're like, oh, this is nothing. Yeah, it gets to be 32 or something, and we're all freezing, and they're like, oh, this is nothing. They're wearing a t-shirt and some shorts.
Yep. Oh man. We'll just, once the sun comes out up north and there's like a little bit of snow melting and stuff like that, you're gonna see everyone in shorts and people are barbecuing and going to the lake and insanity, man.
People are asking, how is the federal lawsuit going with the Cook County thing? Is that something that you can talk about?
A little bit, yeah. I can talk about it a little bit. It's going. It's been going to be about 3 years now, pretty soon, and yeah, it's just been a big pain in the butt. But what the latest is happening is my attorney filed a motion. I forgot what it's called, but he filed a motion. Basically, what it's saying is let's just rule in our favor without a trial. I'm not sure what the name of
Summary
the motion
judgment?
is.
Summary
Yes, I
judgment?
think that's what it is. Yes. And so he's going to argue that on November 5th. So I'm not required to be there, but I really want to. So I'm going to try to make it there. But Solomon, my attorney, is going to be in Cook County arguing that on the 5th. Trial is set. They moved it numerous times, but jury trial is officially set for March of 2021. So hopefully we'll see what happens with the summary of judgment in November. But that's what's going on right now.
Well, the summary judgment is going to mean they're going to have to, how do you say it, shit or get off the pot is basically what your lawyer's saying. You guys are either going to have to make a case or we're asking for summary judgment, and then you can go in for the settlement, which would be good. I'd be glad to see you finish it. I know those things take so long, and then when they finally, I finally settled the lawsuit here a couple months ago, and they finally settled. It's so nice, and it's over with.
Yeah.
You just almost forget, about it. Officer Oak wants to know.
Thing.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say real quick. No, it's okay. Real quick. I was just going to say, to be completely honest, I almost want to see it go to trial. I'm excited about going to trial on this. But we'll see what happens.
Maybe you will get a trial out of it. Summary judgment means you won't necessarily have to go to it, I think.
Right, I forget that.
I'm not exactly sure how that goes, because I got a summary judgment one time and it didn't really amount to a hill of beans, but needless to say. Officer Oak wants to know, what do you think about what's happening in Portland? Do you think it's acceptable, or do you think the lawlessness needs to be stopped? And I understand that they finally called in the state police there. I know that they've been slow to bring in the federal government to sort of kind of put a stop to what's going on. But what do you think? Have you been paying attention to Portland?
I have been a little bit. I have a friend that's up there kind of wrecking little havoc there, but I don't. I really don't know what to say about it. I don't like the idea of things, lawlessness and things getting damaged and people's property, but at the same time, I can understand where a lot of rage comes from as well. So, it's basically the streets talking.
I know exactly what you mean. And I always say that with these protests and rallies and things like that, it only takes one brick. And people are just so frustrated, one brick, and people just, it just sets people off. Seem so angry. And that's another, the climate of the country and what I was talking about earlier with police officers actually being indicted. And the one cop, Minneapolis or wherever it was, I can't ever remember, the one at the Wendy's drive-through. That police officer was.
That was Atlanta. I know what you're talking about.
Atlanta, maybe, yeah.
Were they lit on fire?
Yes. That was maybe the second one that got arrested. I don't remember. I'm kind of drawing a blank on the names, and I get all of those cases mixed up. But they arrested him before an indictment, which is unusual. The whole way that it went, and this guy getting arrested and stuff, I just thought, wow, I'm shocked. That they just that wouldn't have happened 3 years ago. I don't think, anyway. But let's see if we have some more questions. I don't know if I have some more questions. What about you? Do you have any? Do you have anything you want to talk about while you're up here?
Well, I'm reading this from El Sancho. Is there a list of things in your head as a rule book for how not to do this? List of no-nos, and if so, what are they? I can only speak for myself. I'm not saying how other people do things. But as for me, I don't like to talk, because I would much rather have the experience be organic and have their natural reactions. How are they going to react? Are they going to be good and cordial? Or are they going to be jerks? I want it to be completely unprovoked. So my big thing, big no is like talking to them. Although a lot of people would disagree, probably.
How do you do that? How do you keep your
Another
cool so
big
well? How do
no,
you?
in my opinion, come into it as an observer and not as like somebody who's an like I'm the most educated, like, I'm not here, I'm flexing my rights. I take the approach of more an observer. I like to be, I don't like to be an activist out there. I don't like to have that appearance. I just want to be a normal person, because I want the reactions to be how they would react to a normal person. I don't ever want to go into a situation, whether it's a cop watching or an audit, where they say, oh, she's one of them. I'd rather have my cell phone, and I'd rather sit back and just do my thing. So, and I'm only speaking for myself. I'm not saying that's the right way to do it or the wrong way. It's just that's me, and that's the approach I want, and that's the response that I want to get. So,
Amanda, I don't know if you've ever met Peachy, but Amanda, this is
oh,
Peachy
hi.
Ryder. She's
Hello.
from, guess what,
Yes.
Georgia. She's a Georgia Peach.
Oh, okay. Right on.
Peachy, this is
Hello
Amanda. I
there.
don't know if y'all have ever met before.
We
Yeah, I've seen you
haven't.
comment.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Peachy was at the George Floyd protests.
Oh no, I was just saying I've seen you in the comments and stuff, and yeah.
Well, I'm starstruck because I think you're amazing, and
Oh my gosh,
yeah,
thank
you're
you.
welcome. And we just need more women doing this type of activism work like you. So
There's a lot of us that, yeah, there's a lot of us that have a lot
Oh
of
yeah.
respect for you, Amanda,
absolutely, yep.
and the way that you do, your actions, or your activism. Takes a strong woman, and the way that you can stay so cool
Well,
is
thank you.
kind of foreign to me, and maybe Peachy too. I don't know, but you know what I mean. I mean, you
It
always
can be
stay really
hard.
cool, and then
I guess less
and
is
that's what I
better when
want
it
to
comes
talk
to this,
more
in my
about
opinion.
that. How do you do that? I mean, I mean, I know it's a different perspective. So you go in as an observer, and I'm trying to work that myself, to just to be a fly on the wall. I'm just holding the camera and standing here, kind of thing. And I try to remember that's all I'm doing, and not try to be overly freaked out or anything if someone approaches me or whatever, if that makes any sense, because I can get a little touchy too sometimes if they're,
Oh
I don't know,
no, it
cops
makes
kind of
perfect
freak me
sense,
out
because it's
sometimes.
extremely hard.
It is very
Yeah,
stressful. I
they
don't know
do.
how many, people realize how stressful it can be. And even if you're not intending to, even if, I mean, there's been times when I didn't intend to make a video, and something just happened, and I turned on my camera and I captured, for instance, when I got arrested at the courthouse, or got detained at the courthouse that day for 2 hours, I just happened to turn on my camera, and all of that stuff happened. I wasn't expecting it. So you just never know, but let me ask you a little bit more about the type of activities. Do you plan them out? Like, how did you come up with the idea of the sign? I mean, where do you get the ideas from?
Well, I usually get motivated by situations that happen. What motivated me to do the sign is, I don't know if you remember, in Florida, like a little while back, about a year ago, right before I did this, there was that guy who was driving in his truck that said, "I eat ass" in the back, and then he got arrested. And then Jeff Gray later on went to, I think, the same courthouse or something, with the same exact sign that said, "I eat ass."
I saw that. I saw
I
that.
remember that. Yes.
Yes. And he got arrested. And so I was like, you know what? This is ridiculous. And so I was like, okay, let me just make some signs then. And so that's when I did the signs. My first sign that I did, though, it was in Leon Valley, but it wasn't at the police station. It was outside, because the ATF is located in Leon Valley. So I went outside the ATF with a sign that said, "Fuck the ATF," which is really interesting, because what happened is they called the police, Leon Valley. So Leon Valley police actually came, and they came to me, and they're like, "Yeah, everything's okay. The sign's fine, whatever. Just make sure you don't go on their property." Like, okay. So I go into, so then like 6 months later, I go to Leon Valley with the same exact sign, except it said, "Fuck Joe and the Leon Valley police." And of course, that sign wasn't good. So it's like they weren't content neutral. I mean, it was okay when I was saying fuck the ATF, but it wasn't okay when I said fuck the police. So that's also part of one of my lawsuits with because I actually have a lawsuit because of that arrest as well.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I meant to follow up with that question. That you did file a lawsuit. Well, that's good. Is Solomon handling that case for you as well?
Yes.
Awesome.
And I'll tell you guys more about that as things sort of unfold. But I'm just waiting on a couple of things before I even really talked about that. So, but yeah, there is something ongoing with them.
I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, that is something is going on there in Leon Valley, and I mean I don't want to say it's hard to put my finger on because I think it involves millions of tax dollars and a lot of salaries and things like that, and the little money train that they don't want to lose. But it's a really weird place. It's a really strange place.
Absolutely.
Is there more places like that? I mean, I know Almost Park is a little weird. I don't know that they are even as weird as Leon Valley, but they are kind of creepy. But
yeah, there's
here at
some places. Almost Park I think has sort of a thing for like the open carry folks, and like Jack, I think I think it's a little more personal than anything with them. Hopefully they'll get themselves together. But also there's places that really haven't been touched lately. There's like, I don't know if y'all are familiar with Beeville. That's a pretty bad area, but nobody's really been back down there.
I don't know if you knew it or not, but I used to live on the Nueces River in George West, Texas. And that's just about 20 minutes from Beeville. So we shopped in Beeville whenever this was the closest place to shop around there. But yeah, it's a tough place. It has always been a tough place with the cops. It always has been, even since I lived there. And I was moved away from there when I was 16 years old. So it's been a long time, 20 something, 30 years or something. Which has always been a real tough place. Robstown, also a real tough place with the cops there too. I mean, there's some pretty tough places, I guess, in Texas that I can even remember. Louisiana's terrible. I could name off of quite a few, but that Leon Valley, though, Leon Valley, there's something going on there, and like I said, I've looked through their budgets, and I've looked through the way their salaries are manipulated and increased every year and throughout the year, and you know what I mean, and it's pretty easy to tell exactly what's going on there, but what they're doing is pretty illegal because they've set it up that way with their new charter and the way they just kind of railroaded the citizens into this crazy kind of governmental system that they have there, where you can just elect people and then you can have a council that vote them out. You're the people in the community that elected, like the Ramirez guy. I don't know if you know about the Ramirez guy, but he was elected to that position as a city council member. And then they decided that he sexually harassed somebody, and somehow, some way, something that couldn't happen here in Louisiana that I could think of any way that they could do it, somehow they were able to vote as a council, vote him off the council. How do you do that? How do you go against the people that have voted this person in?
Weird.
That's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy. But they voted him out and had a whole new election, and then just put somebody else there in his place. It's insane. And I want to say they did it with someone else too. It's very weird. Very weird. It reminds me of Bell, California, but yeah, it's a really crazy little place there. And if you follow along with the public meetings and stuff that they have there, you can kind of see. I mean, it's just they used to have Kelly Kuntzler was the superintendent, and I do believe she may still be working there at the moment. But Salvaggio has taken over her position. So, the last budget, whatever.
That was bizarre.
Very bizarre and incredibly strange. Never, not to say that it's never happened before, but wow. Wow. Yeah. Who puts that person in that position like this? You know what I mean?
I don't know. Yeah.
It's very strange. Peachy, you have any questions? You have any questions for your idol?
Yeah. Well, I was looking at your views, Pink Camera Magic, almost 12 million. Kudos.
Oh, thank you.
Wow. How long have you been filming the police or the government?
It's been about 6 years now. Oh my God, I can't believe it's been about 6 years.
And what got you started?
It was a number of things. Just kind of my personal experiences with the police, and then a lot of what happened in Ferguson, with Mike Brown and stuff, and them not having cameras. I got obsessed with trying to find amateur footage of people saying, that he had his hands up or whatever. So I was just going on YouTube and started seeing cop watchers and started finding them on like Facebook and stuff and getting really involved. I saw Laura Shark and Ida Foxy Queen on there, which was pretty cool. And we ended up connecting, and yeah, it just sort of, it snowballed from there.
And I have to ask, how many times have you been arrested?
For doing this, I've been arrested 3 times.
Yeah, I hate to ask that, but it's just,
That's okay.
It's not if, but it's when filming.
Yes.
I'm more of a videographer than a cop watcher. I kind of started out as a cop watcher, and then I was yeah. So
She's
taken a few arrests. She was arrested at the George Floyd protest, girl.
Yeah.
Curfew breaker.
Really?
Yeah.
Were you in Minneapolis or was this in Georgia?
In Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
The night I was arrested, I heard I had about 3,000 in my chat.
Tell us about your arrest, PT. Do you mind telling us what happened?
Yeah.
Tell us about the handcuffing. Tell us the whole story.
Oh, yeah. Well, when I first arrived, it's like, I'm not going to get arrested. I'm not going to get arrested. You know how you kind of talk to yourself about things like that. You kind of give yourself a pep talk. And because I get a little bit, I'm pretty much excitable with things like that. And so this was past curfew. So it was getting close to past curfew, and I can remember saying, "Oh, it's only 10 minutes past curfew. I'm not much past curfew." And I noticed I had a lot of people in my chat. I'm like, damn, and that wasn't really my determining factor to continue. It was really at that point. It was my 4th day in Atlanta filming, and there were people getting arrested on the sidewalks. And my hotel was just right around the corner. I did get caught in between hundreds and hundreds on my right, Atlanta PD. Behind me, the Georgia National Guard. I was like one of a few in between all those people. And I was filming, and I cut down a side street past Lieutenant Knapp, who I've gotten to know. And I'm like, oh, it's only 9:10. I'm okay. 9 was curfew. So I saw a few people get arrested, and then I saw some media people in front of me, and I thought, well, maybe I'll just tag for a few minutes with these media people. And I was snagged pretty quickly at that point. And thankfully I had
wow.
Yeah, thankfully is it Amanda? I'm sorry. Amanda, thankfully I had
Amanda.
numbers written on my arms, permanent marker, and I had told people.
Smart.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Wow, that's crazy, man.
Yeah, and then I was arrested last summer, almost a year ago, for filming as well. So
really, what happened with that?
Is this your arrest? Is this video that we're watching your arrest, Peachy?
I think so. It's pretty small. Can you?
Tiny little video.
Yeah. I'm part of the media right here.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, I'm part of the media. That's what I claimed. I'm part of the media. Or I can go back to the hotel. I don't want to be arrested, sir. I don't want to be arrested, sir. Sir, I don't want to be arrested. I don't want to be arrested, sir. I'm arrested.
He's like,
sir.
fuck it, we're gonna arrest you.
I'm arrested, guys. I'm arrested. I'm arrested, guys.
Oh no.
What happened after that? Did they put you on a bus, or what'd they do with you?
Yeah, they recording. That's all. Yeah, I wasn't placed. I was placed with those zip ties, and I have torn rotator cuffs on both shoulders. And so they were walking me about a quarter of a mile back to the bus. And I just said, look, I can't stand it. I kept falling to my knees. I was hurting so bad. And they were very, very nice about everything, really. and I put my hands in front with zip ties, and they put me on a bus for about 2 hours until they filled the bus up, which was horrible. You know, we're in the midst of COVID-19, right?
Right.
And but you know, yeah, we stayed on the bus for about 2 hours, and I stayed in jail. There was no bailing me out. I stayed in jail. All of us did, who was arrested past curfew. We stayed in probably about 20 hours, I
Wow.
guess. Yeah.
Who came
Did you
and
get
got you, or
charged
they
with the
just let you
crime?
out?
Yeah. They I saw a judge the next day uh via internet or TV, whatever. And yeah, they let me out. They had my gear about 50 miles, maybe not that far. Maybe it was about 30 minutes away from the city of Atlanta. So I spent about $60 getting a taxi to go get my gear.
Oh my God.
Yeah, yeah, and that was the next day. It was man, it was crazy, guys. The whole
She got a
thing.
lot of great footage out of there too, though. She did a really good job up until she got the zip ties.
Yeah. That was my fourth day there. I spent almost 10. I spent 10 nights, and then I was see. I didn't film the that day because I didn't have my gear, but the next night I was back out filming. So
Um, Amanda, Wilma, Dick
So I think you're
Fitz.
kind of roboting.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you hear me? Is this any better?
yeah, I can hear you. Thank you, El Sancho.
I see, but can you hear me now? Is this better? Sometimes my mic is, I don't know, maybe the battery's getting low on it.
I hear you. I hear you good.
Wilma Dickfit is one of the people in the comments, so I don't want you to think I'm saying Wilma Dickfit. But Wilma Dickfit had a question now. Now I forgot what the question is. What did Wilma say? Come on. Wilma wanted me to say his name. Oh, yeah, here it is. What do you ladies think of auditor groupies? Let me ask you that question, both of you ladies. Do you have any auditor groupies?
What's an auditor groupie?
I'm not sure. I guess it's like a rock star groupie. I don't know.
I
Maybe
have
you
a
have,
troll groupie,
yeah, people. Yeah,
Wilma and Karen.
I call them. I have some trolls in my comment section. I call them bobbleheads. One of them is Wendell Fears. Do you know Wendell? Is he one of your bobbleheads, or is he one of your one of
Oh
the
yeah,
people that trolls
yeah.
you? Wendell. He's one of my groupies. And then King Nine used to be one of my groupies. He still comments on my videos.
I love King 9.
Yeah.
Do you have any, Amanda? Do you have anybody that's always commenting that you notice? I mean, there's some people in my comment section. I just notice they've been commenting crazy stuff for 8 years. Since I've been making videos.
There's been a few over the years. I don't really keep track of them. I'm not sure. I mean, Wendell Fears, that's familiar to me. I know I've seen his comments around, but I can tell you one thing though. A couple of years ago, there was a supporter of mine. I guess you can call him a supporter who ended up being my boyfriend. So we ended up he'd go to Chicago and we got to talking and stuff, and then we ended up being together for about a year and a half. So, and he's still like a big into, he's in the comments and stuff all the time, and for a lot of auditors and stuff. But we were together for about a year and a half. So I met a boyfriend.
Have you ever? I don't remember. Were you at Almost Park whenever they had the big gun rally? By chance?
The last one I was. Not the first one.
Oh, okay, I remember we did go to one of the gun rallies at Leon Valley, though. Do you remember that? But I'm
Yes, I
thinking
remember
of.
the Leon Valley one.
I remember specifically the big gun rally. Okay, I didn't go to the very last one that they had in Leon Valley, but the first one they had in Almost Park, when all of the auditors showed up there. So it was like me and Slacker. There was a whole bunch of us there, and just like the people that recognized us from our videos and from our channels that were out there and knew us was just really amazing. I was just really shocked, that there were so many people there that like knew who the hell we were. They'd walk right up to, oh, Teresa, or I know you from I saw your Welsh video or whatever. I just was really
Yeah.
surprised. I don't know if you've ever been,
Yeah, that's
maybe, I
pretty
don't know
cool.
if, yeah, that's always fun. Those are a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It was like that
There's
at
been a
Leon
couple of
Valley
times.
too. And
Yeah, just there's been a couple of times where I've been out and about. One time I was at work and somebody recognized me, knew who I was, and that was kind of, I was freaked out a little bit at first, but it was kind of pretty cool.
Now, are you a big proponent for the Second Amendment? And when I say that, I don't want to ask you if you carry, but yeah, Amanda, uh,
What's that?
with the second.
No, I'm. You can ask. That's fine. I mean,
I'm
I'm not a
sorry.
gun person. I don't carry. I'm not a gun person. I mean,
Yeah.
I support the Second Amendment, but I'm not personally. I don't really like guns personally.
Yeah. Well, I have my weapon carry concealed permit, and last summer when I was going through the process of getting that, uh, that's when I was arrested filming the process in the probate office in the courthouse.
Really?
Yeah, that was my first arrest,
Wow.
Amanda. That was probably my second, not my second, probably about my fourth or fifth time out filming, and I was arrested, and that arrest was 1,000 times worse than this recent arrest in Atlanta. It was
Wow.
awful. It was retaliation. It was in a different jail, and it was really, really bad. But
Oh my God, Peachy, right? I'm gonna have to go on a binge on watching your videos.
you
Seems like you've
gotta
been through
watch
a
her,
lot.
Amanda. You gotta watch her videos.
Yeah,
I was really shocked
absolutely.
whenever she made it out to Atlanta. I watched a lot of her videos while she was out there. That was pretty interesting.
yeah,
I did an audit
Somebody
in
I
Atlanta.
know.
I was in
What
Atlanta
was that?
once and I did an audit out there. Actually, the boyfriend I was telling you about is from Atlanta, and I went there to visit him once. And he lives in Phoenix, but he's from Atlanta, and so we went there one of my visits to him, and we actually audited the jail out there
wow.
downtown.
Well, I had no idea. I know you've been in a lot of places around the country. I envy you there. I'm hoping to get to do some traveling
Oh,
in October myself. So,
Eh,
um,
and where do you live
good.
now, Amanda? I'm sorry I missed that.
she lives
San
in
Antonio,
Texas.
Texas.
I have not filmed
Yep.
with someone yet. It's the craziest thing. I haven't.
Ah,
Yeah, my family is really not. My whole big thing, and I'll make this really short. My whole big thing when I started really was I ride a motorcycle, Amanda. I have a car, but I ride a motorcycle. My whole big thing was
oh,
starting
nice.
this was I really wanted to open carry and cop watch and ride that motorcycle. That was really, what I really wanted to do.
Oh,
Um, and
okay.
yeah. And of course, I didn't talk to my family about it first. And when my dad found out about it, he's like, "You're going to be shot. You're going to be killed." And he's known me all my life, obviously, and he knows sometimes I can be fearless. And if I go into situations, careless and what's the word, cocky, and he's just really
Mhm.
fearing for my safety, and then
Mm.
I got arrested really really quickly with all that business. And I have to say this, and I know Teresa, she's going to tell me not to talk about the case, which I have a little bit, but I have not answered those charges yet. Not yet. I'm still calling in to my pretrial service person every month
Wow.
from last summer. It's been almost 1 year. So I've got to get my butt in gear and do some paperwork to get this thing dismissed, right?
Yeah,
Yes, you
that's
do. Talk
crazy
to
how
your
they
public
do that.
defender.
Yes.
And remember what I said, they'll just drag it on as long as they can. You know how they do.
But I
Yeah.
can put a stop to that, though, right?
Well, you probably need to talk to the public defender and maybe, the longer you drag it out, it's always better for you. The longer you drag it out, the longer it goes, the better off you are. Every time you go up there, they'll offer you a better plea deal until, it's a $10 fine and they let you walk away. Just plead guilty, please. You know what I mean? I just don't want to take this
But
to
then you got to
trial.
be
Just plead
careful
guilty.
too, because it's and the thing that's so bad about that, though, and that's very unfortunate, is that you sort of subject yourself then to the pretrial terms and conditions, which are usually really intrusive, and you can any little thing can violate you if they're mad. Like it's really messed up. I know in Chicago, and I see this happen all the time with pretrial conditions. If you miss a call in, they can lock you up. If you miss, anything, like if you get caught auditing, sometimes they'll lock you up. So it's really
Yeah, and
unfortunate.
that's their game too,
That
is hoping that you'll get arrested in between time.
yeah,
They let you out and they'll just drag it on because they
yep,
don't have a case, and they just hope you get arrested in the meantime. Then they can roll it all up into one and make you another plea deal, start all over
and
again.
yeah, and that's so true, and that's one thing that I've really
yeah.
taken a back seat to filming because of that. I don't want to add charges. And here I go. The last thing my dad said to
Yeah.
me, do not get when I finally had the nerve to call him to tell him I was in Atlanta, the last thing he said to me before I hung up was, don't get
Yeah.
arrested.
Sure
Yeah,
enough, he
yeah.
jinxed you,
So,
man.
I'm hoping. Yeah,
Hey,
go ahead.
I want to say hi to. Oh, I'm sorry. I just want to say hi to Carolina Fort Worth for a minute. She said something. She said a little message real quick. I just want to say hi
She
to
needs
her.
to come up.
Let her know I saw her message.
Yeah, I wanted to say that.
Right.
Carolina's not too far from you. She's in Dallas. I know that's not super close, but she's right there by you. She'd probably love to have
Yep.
some support. She needs a strong woman to show her the ropes.
Yeah, I'd love
She's working
to
real hard
have
out
some
there.
time to go up there. That'd be awesome.
Do you film with someone, Amanda, typically, or do you go out by yourself?
No, I usually do it by myself.
Yeah.
On occasion, I'll do some filming with like Texas Sheepdog, or else I'll like it hasn't happened in a while, but normally it's by myself.
Yeah, and me too. I one thing that I really got in trouble in Atlanta, I needed mace on me. I'm not going to carry a gun and with all those people. I was not carrying, and I think that was a good idea for me not to. But I had a stalker in Atlanta for I don't know how long, Teresa. Maybe he stalked me maybe for
Oh.
a good hour. Yeah,
Yeah, he followed you around for a little while. He was a little creepy.
he was very much creepy, and
Oh.
what I learned from that
He want to get those
was that.
digits. Maybe he wanted to get those digits.
Oh no, he's a professional agitator. So
Oh.
that's what he does. He has a YouTube channel, and that's what his content is
Yeah, I
to
forget the name of
harass.
the YouTube channel, but he's some sort of a YouTuber, and he was kind of trolling her. Basically, he's walking around kind of
Oh
trolling her.
God.
Yeah, I'm not gonna plug.
That's
I'm not gonna plug his channel.
terrible.
No, yeah, he was off. But
Mm.
what I learned from that is what Furry did really well is with that mace, with that gel mace. I don't know if you carry anything with you, but I tell you what,
Yeah.
next time I go out, I'm gonna have something with me like that to protect myself.
Well,
Yeah, that's a good
Pete,
idea.
Amanda, I don't know. I don't want to keep you any longer. I think it's probably, I don't know, if you guys want to wrap things up to this evening. Ah, man, I'm stumbling over my words.
Yeah, I gotta get up pretty
I know
early
you've got
too.
some other things
It's
going
past
on in
my
the
bedtime.
background over there, and we've been talking for a little while. So, anyway, before you go,
Hey,
and
Laura.
I don't know if you can or not. Is there any updates that you can give us on what's going on with Jack Miller's case with the almost park thing? I don't know if you know anything that's going on. I haven't really paid attention to it. I know he was arrested. I know there was I think there was an arraignment, but I don't know that I've heard of anything after that. I haven't really looked at it in a while, so I don't know. Is there any updates you can give us?
So, well, first question I guess I would ask is which one? A lot of stuff was acquitted. Leon Valley stuff was acquitted, but he's got almost Park stuff that there's still pending court dates, as far as I know now. So, I guess I'm sure he'll do a video or let us know when his next court date
That's
is.
what
I
I'm
should
thinking
probably
too.
just call it that.
Yeah, I thought I might have missed it, but yeah, I wanted to make sure everybody in the chat and that's watching tonight knows that the Leon Valley charges were ultimately dismissed against him. So I believe the only charges that he's left facing have to do with the Almost Park thing, with the them tackling him and stuff with the gun that day. So that was what I was speaking of. I didn't want anybody to think that I thought he still had charges. So, but yeah, that I'm curious how that's
Yeah,
gonna
and they did him
work
wrong,
out.
man. They threw the book at him. Yeah.
Yeah, he got some really
Yeah, me
nasty
too.
charges, and they kept him, and they busted him up a little bit too. So that wasn't very nice.
Yep.
But anyway,
No.
you guys, you ladies have anything else you want to add before we wrap this up tonight?
Good luck with your ongoing case.
Laura,
Thank
would you
you.
like to come up for a few minutes before we go?
Hey, Laura. See,
I
Laura
don't
is about to join. Maybe I should stick around.
Hey, Laura.
Oh,
Stick
hi.
around for a few
In
minutes.
that live chat, if you don't, just don't mind me. Yeah, sorry.
Laura,
What
while
do you
we
mean?
have
No,
you here,
I'm on my phone. Sorry, guys.
Laura, while we have you here, do you
Hi.
Yeah, I'll
mind?
stick around
Do
for a
you
little bit.
mind
It's
telling
way
us?
past my bedtime, but you know what? YOLO.
Amanda, I came here for you, my love. How dare you? She's like, oh, Laura's here, gotta go.
No, she said I'm going to stay for a minute since you're here. She said she'll stay for a few more minutes. Yeah. And then she's got to get up for work in the morning. It's what, 10:30
Yeah, blah, blah,
here
blah,
our
blah.
time.
Responsibilities, whatever. Must be
California.
nice.
Yeah, it's still daylight over there.
No, it's not, but whatever.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear your excuses, Amanda.
Laura, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm here with what?
Hey, Laura.
Hi. So sorry, guys. I feel like I just jumped in and interrupted whatever conversation you were having. Sorry. I had a reminder, but I missed it. But
it was a nice interruption.
Oh.
Anyway, but we were fixing to just wrap things up. Did you have anything else that you wanted to add? Are you one of Amanda's groupies?
Oh, I'm her number one fan.
And do you have any groupies of your own?
Went out to Chicago. I got to meet her in person, and I've had the pleasure of meeting her beautiful self in person.
She's an awesome lady. I've got to meet her in person myself too. Anyway, anybody else in the chat have any more questions?
She's still here. Did she fall asleep on us?
I think she's still here, but we've been having some trouble with the mic, so I feel like.
Damn it, Amanda! Stop with it.
I can kind of hear her back there.
Technical delays. Oh, well, anyway, okay. So you're gonna wrap it up?
Yeah, I think we're going to wrap it up for tonight. And we just lost Amanda too as well. Amanda, if you don't get to come back on, it was so lovely having you here. I'm so glad you came up. Thank you very, very, very much. And you too, Laura, for coming by.
Hold on, I want to say hi to Laura. Laura, I haven't met you. I'm Peachy.
Oh, hi,
Laura,
guys.
Peachy.
I'm a huge fan.
Awesome, thanks. I'm not. You know what? I know I subbed to you, Teresa, and then but I'm really excited about meeting all these women in the community that I unfortunately didn't really realize were there, but now that I am, I'm really excited.
It's nice to have a few of them, huh? There wasn't very many of us for a long, long time.
There's not any elite in my immediate area, but I'm always down to travel if it so behooves me.
Absolutely, we all have to get together. We should have a little convention in New Orleans. The best place to meet.
So I think we should have an audit convention in general, but yeah.
That would be awesome. All right, ladies. It was so wonderful talking to you all.
Maybe I can
Bring
catch up with you guys next Wednesday.
Absolutely, absolutely. Come by next Wednesday. Everybody come by next Wednesday. And one little announcement that I want to make before we leave the airways tonight is I think El Sancho is just maybe 6 people shy of 600, of going to 600 on his subs. So get your sock
Hey, Daniel,
accounts.
go
Sub,
up, subscribe to El Sancho.
sub your
Sorry.
socks, sub your husband's accounts, your wife's accounts,
Yeah.
everyone's accounts. So we need 6 more to go over 600. Anyway, so let me say goodbye one more time. It was wonderful having everybody here. And I hope you guys can make it back next week.
Sure thing.
Thank you, Teresa.
Thank you guys so much.